Welcome to Startup Health TV, where we talk to the entrepreneurs and innovators who are transforming health. I'm Logan Plaster. I'm here with Shawn Ellis from Distributed Ventures. Shawn, thanks for joining me.
Logan, my pleasure. Great to be here.
All right, so let's just talk about Distributed Ventures.
Sure.
What makes it different?
Absolutely. So we're a $100 million seed and Series A focused fund. We look at health tech, digital health, but also fintech and insurtech, so a little bit of a broader aperture. We work very closely with our companies and our limited partners to help accelerate the portfolio companies that we back. Go-to-market strategies, product refinement, pricing, all of the above. Very hands-on collaborative approach.
Okay. I would say a lot of firms say they're hands-on, or say they offer coaching, they say they help you go to market. How would you say your approach to that coaching piece is different?
Yeah, couple different dimensions to it. So number one, in terms of our investment team, we've been on the other side of the table as founders. Okay. We have very deep industry expertise in the areas where we play. So you've got a bit of a distinction at the investment team level. And then moving to that statement about the strategic limited partners we have and the way we work with them, interface in a really streamlined way, have an innovation forum that they can plug into, have leaders that are dedicated there, so it's a really streamlined point of interface to help these founders, navigate their way in the early innings of their businesses.
What stage of business do you look at?
So seed and A, we've skewed earlier out of this fund,
okay.
and done primarily seed.
Okay, so a lot of seed stage. What are the challenges that most of your founders are facing?
Yeah, well, first of all, startups are always challenging, right? It feels like you're climbing a mountain that just keeps going. But I think the market of late is definitely throwing some curveballs to founders, obviously with SVB and some of the banking crises. Just money flows have been challenges. But I think the broader, more persistent dynamic that we're starting to see is a higher bar in employer contexts, higher bar as it relates to pricing models, return on investment. What are they really getting from these solutions? And so that's forcing a lot of founders to think about different risk-based models, utilization-based models, price points, so that they can remove some of the friction for the early adoption of their products.
Are there some strategic refrains that you hear yourself coming back to again and again in conversations?
I think what's been great for the venture market, both on the investor side and for founders, is that kind of 2022 and 23, gravity's kicked back in, right? Founders, are sort of building businesses in a scalable, disciplined way that kind of involves common sense.
Yeah.
So that's great, because I think there was a period that was sort of suspension of reality when capital was flowing a little bit more freely.
So you're seeing a bit of a silver lining in what is definitely a rocky situation.
I think so. I mean, we're definitely seeing founders that are building more durable businesses that are going to be, great companies. Not that they aren't today, but they're going to be great companies at scale 3 to 5 years down the line.
Is there a vertical that you're particularly interested in right now? What would you like to get pitched?
Yeah, so I think particularly within the healthcare arena, we're big fans of virtual centers of excellence. Any model where you can create a more efficient market between demand and supply. So a couple examples of that, we've invested in a fertility company that's focused on male infertility.
Okay.
What's really interesting about that subcategory is there's an extreme constraint on the supply of care in the form of male infertility-focused urologists.
Okay.
They're clustered around major urban centers. There are only about 200 of them in the country as a whole.
Wow.
On the demand side, it has not been the universal standard of care to consider male infertility while women are going down their infertility treatment path. And so this is really about more efficiently meeting that supply and demand and creating a better care experience, leveraging telemedicine and some of the virtual tools that COVID really accelerated. Another example, sort of similar play, invested in a company that's a comprehensive hearing plan. It involves a virtual diagnostic, access to a virtual network of audiologists, 200 audiologists, so the largest network in the country, just happens to be virtual, and then connection to care strategies, software, et cetera, that can help individuals maintain and understand any hearing degradation that they may have.
Got it. So what I hear you saying is you're finding these verticals where you can connect an extreme gap of supply and demand.
Yep, absolutely.
Using sort of the best virtual health tools we have available.
Virtual modalities, but again, this notion of kind of centers of excellence where we can address, new needs that really have not been addressed historically in the market.
Do you get pitched a lot?
We do, yeah, we do. I think particularly because of what we can do to accelerate the early innings of these companies. A lot of folks appreciate that value and are trying to get in front of us.
Yeah. I didn't mean that question to sort of assess, your activity as much as to ask, what do you look for in a pitch?
Yeah, so for us, there are a couple of hard kind of gating criteria. We want to see product build. We want to see some demonstration of the product having success in the market, so some revenue. Obviously, it's not the be-all, end-all. Everyone's sort of tinkering, refining their strategies when you're at that seed stage in particular. But we're looking for, post-product, some demonstration of revenue, how this is going to be priced, distributed. And then on the founder side as well, looking for founders, especially in today's market, that have grit, that are demonstrating that grit. Ideally they're repeat builders. So those are some of the things.
Yeah, is there anything that you are looking for that you think is atypical?
That's a great question. I would say, if you're looking for a capital partner that's sort of a set it and forget it approach, that ain't us.
Yeah.
If you're looking for somebody that's going to be a partner on the ride, and obviously it's your business, it's your baby, but we're there to help support and enable that vision. If you're looking for that closer relationship, we're a great partner.
Sounds like coachability would be important.
That's right. Yep.
The ability to listen, to adapt.
Yeah, well said.
How do you assess that?
I think this is another advantage of the current market environment. Things have decelerated a bit, which I think is better for founders and for funders, because you've got more of a chance to get to know one another. It feels less like a shotgun marriage.
Sure, yeah.
And a little bit more like we've got some time to date and appreciate how is a founder thinking about building and addressing an opportunity in market, and how are we as funders, sort of supporting that journey and success.
What a wild 3 years it's been. I'm thinking about the recalibration of all those meetings happening over Zoom. All of a sudden you could have meetings with anyone at any time, all the time.
Yes.
Plus the funding upswing.
Right.
And now, now the changing financial situation, plus now we're meeting back in person again.
Yeah.
Where do you feel like this is heading over the next 6 to 12 months, just in terms of the climate?
That is a great question, right? If you would have asked me a month ago, if any of us would have foreseen, the SVB episode and all the banks that have subsequently had implications. But I think the market's going to stabilize, honestly. I think in terms of kind of the shock to the venture market, folks sitting on the sidelines and pulling back, I think we have found that bottom. Right? We're starting to see people engage and be more active. And again, I think there's no shortage of great founders that are out there still committed to building, even though this is sort of a less euphoric environment than it had been 2018 to 2021.
You sound pretty optimistic. You feel like we've hit that bottom and we're moving forward.
I think the private markets, they're obviously lumpier, but it's no different than in public markets. It's really hard to time the peak and the bottom, and so sort of staying in the game in a measured way is the smartest way to play. That's sort of how we've been operating.
Yeah. Last words. What's your message to a startup that might see this and is interested in working with distributed ventures?
Reach out. We'd love to hear from you. We love to hear the way folks are thinking about addressing new problems. Even if we can't help you directly, we're happy to route you in the direction that might be most fruitful. So we love to meet with folks and hear about what they're doing.
Awesome. Shawn, thanks for taking time with me today. And it's exciting to see that you're in the market, moving forward, and helping folks scale.
Thanks, Logan. This was a pleasure.
Thanks, Shawn.